Hello Eternum and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news, and this is the War Report. No change in the dynamic of Eternum last night, as you might expect after an evening of peace. KOTT News took the night off to put out a rabbit hunting tips and trick video that you should totally check out on KOTT Classic. KOTT would like to make a correction about tonight's illustrious card presentation of Bob Ross in the park. Tonight's performance will be taking place in Ebonscale, presented by the Ebonscale Tourism Council at 9:30 server. In local municipality news, the Reekwater Union of Fishermen have begun preparation for the summer contract negotiations. Turning to the weather once more the sun will rise and shine, giving us another day of beautiful rabbit hunting. Then look out after sunset as the temperatures drop and the island's corruption invasion forces come out across 30% of the island. 3 submissions for simulated fantasy combat resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it's cardboard. First up, the syndicate members of Ascended is coming. Attack the Covenant converts of Coconut Wireless for control of the bear-infested deep forest of Brightwood. Ascended has given constructive notice to all that they are coming to the Fort of Brightwood. What comes next feels especially open to dramatic license. Coconut Wireless have downloaded the Game of Thrones Winter is Coming meme and replaced it with Ascended is Coming. That's how seriously they're taking tonight's battle at the northern gates. Meanwhile, the Marauders of Iron Reavers assault the Syndicate of Commit for control of the master fishing port town of Reekwater. Iron Reavers forces declaring their right to rematch against the forces that deposed them from the region 4 days ago. But now that negotiations have begun, will things get rough? The syndicate members of Commit and the Reekwater Union of Fishermen are aligned towards a fair and equitable split of food sources, with sustainable farming and a long-term bridge solution. Also, the Covenant forces of Error.pxp assail the Marauders of
Emotional Damage
for control of the island's secondary oil reserves of Cutlass Keys. Error.pxp found the killer. Turns out, it's the place we least expected. The mosh pit of Cutlass Keys. And there's a bomb under the table. And emotional damage is the bomb. And they're the table. Now they're in the place they least expected, defending the crocodiles of the Keys. Be sure to tune in for complete coverage and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. Hello Eternum and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news, and this is the War Report. Dynamic change in the history of Eternum last night as the forces of Error.pxp overcome the emotional damage and conquer the crocodiles of Cutlass Keys. KOTT News were on the scene and got reactions from the locker room from Error leadership.
Well, I'm doing pretty well, but not as well as you, conquering the Cutlass Keys in 11 minutes flat. Would you care to take us through how you felt the fight went down out there?
Absolutely. First and foremost, I was very happy that we could get out 50 people. Well, we had to fill a couple last minutes who were having some issues, but that's okay. We'll just call it a full 50. And we were able to try some new things, try some new compositions, which was really good for us. We tried a different shot calling strategy, as well as everybody in new positions. So with that said, I would say that we did great.
I see you and a few members of your company have been hard at work out there culling the rabid rapid population. Will you be getting back out there as soon as you can?
You know, I want that chest. And yes, I will kill rabbits all day long if I have to.
Later in Reekwater, a Syndicate Commit representative took us through their experience on the battlefield.
Oh, take us through it. How'd it go down out there? Did you beat them up too easily?
So easy. Honestly, kind of free.
Were they able to get to the fort doors, or did you keep them out there on the outer objectives?
Kept them out.
Was there anybody else out there in the battlefield who stood out in their abilities tonight?
Honestly, I don't even think they're playing.
Oh, really? A complete skirmish from start to finish, huh?
For sure.
Do you plan on getting back out there and contributing to the rabid population culling?
I always murder him.
KOTT was able to secure a brief word from a member of Coconut Wireless in Brightwood as they were running off to the evening's concert in the park event.
I want to say great work out there in Brightwood. There was one person I'm very disappointed in, and that is Justin34. He had one assignment, and he could not complete that, so we'll be looking to see if we can make room for the roster, because he let us down there.
Oh, an unfortunate shout out in the negative here on the lineups for Coconut Wireless. I see that you're going to have to go back and go over the VODs and discuss some disciplinary actions, huh?
Yes, he had one job, and he couldn't do that, so he had to heal one person, and he let that person die.
Unfortunate. I know what it's like to have an assigned healer let you down.
Just disappointment all around from everybody in Coconut to Justin34.
Oh my. Well, outside of that glaring mistake by that one individual, was there any other, would you care to take us through the rest of the fight out there on the battlefield?
There was really no fight. They were just all in war camp, so it was unfortunate to waste people's times, but sometimes that's how the cookie crumbles.
Well, my friend, is there anything else you might want to say to the citizens of Eternum while I got you here?
Yeah, be on the lookout for Virtrum. He's a well-known hooligan in Eternum. Just be on the lookout for him.
A little late to the festivities, the Ebonscale Tourism Council's presentation of Bob Ross in the park was a resounding success as citizens from all over Eternum came to watch the concert. Turning to the weather, and it's looking like another day of sunshine all afternoon long for those of you still hunting down your rabbit-themed footlockers. But for those of you committed to putting down the corruption, be on the lookout for a 30% chance of invasion forces rising up across the island. Another submission for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it's cardboard. Tonight, the Syndicate members of Chimps assail the Marauders of Discord PvP Dodgers for control of First Light and the flow of the spice. The newcomers of Chimps seek to establish a foothold on the island by securing the bountiful yields associated with controlling the island's hyssop and spice production facilities. But the Dodgers aren't going to let a bunch of chimps overrun the island's premium tropical destination. They didn't spend 3.5 hours capturing the region to lose it now. Be sure to tune in for complete coverage and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News.
Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report.
Dynamic change in the history of Eternum last night as a group of chimps overcome the southern shores of First Light. KOTT News were on the scene immediately following the skirmish and got reactions from the victors. Congratulations on your victory here in First Light. Over in about 14 minutes, would you care to take us through how you got into the fort so quickly?
We tried a new strategy, and for my group, it was not the funnest thing, but there was like 20 people chasing 10 of us, so we kind of just got in for free. And I think that was just Big Brain by Inaudible by Blackpink for us to stay there instead of helping B-Point. So it sucked, but it worked.
Indeed. Was there anybody on your team who outperformed themselves tonight?
I'm just really happy with all the players that we had come out. I wouldn't say anyone in specific. We are trying to make some big things happen here and build a competitive roster. So everyone that did come out, I think there's big things coming for us in the future.
Excellent. I see some familiar faces, but it's always nice to see a new company form up and get things started here on the island. And speaking of getting things started, have you been able to get out there and vanquish as many rabid rabbits as you needed to get your rabid footlocker?
I know that there's some rabbit killing demons that we got, like Nick, but I just don't want the rabbit head anywhere near me. So I've been avoiding the Easter event pretty much altogether. I'm too busy getting counter pushed while pushing green by yellow because they all are like fanning over me or something.
Oh, speaking of the rabbit head getting too near to you, there it is.
There it is. Classic.
Well, now that you're in charge of First Light, do you have any ambitions for the region?
I wouldn't really say ambitions. We just wanted to have some wars. So if you want wars, let's do some wars. I don't really care about the actual town.
Later in Monarch's Bluff, KOTT News investigating a hot tip about a nefarious group of scab fishermen operating without appropriate licensing. We go now live to JC on the scene with that report. While out hunting, a member of the Rabid Rabbit Patrol noticed these 6 members of the community, distinguished members of the community, trying to get their fishing on here behind the waterfall. One wonders what they're trying to get fishing for.
I know, but how does this... Would they have to have, like, multiple computers to do this?
Well, if it's one person, they would have one account running a virtual machine on each, or, you know, they could run virtual Steam accounts on it. Ask Linus. Linus knows how to do this on one account.
Oh, that's gnarly. Yeah, he's been here, or they've been here for at least 30 minutes.
All right, and this is just outside of Verdant Crown. I got here south of Predu Shrine in Monarch.
Yeah, I was
Bluff,
doing
huh? Why is they here? What is it? They're just hiding behind the waterfall, huh?
I think because they know what they're doing is they shouldn't. That's why they did it. I literally, by chance, I was hunting for fire motes, and I was picking up oil. Then I saw some flickering, and I was like, "What the?" You know, I saw a chest, and I looked up, and then I saw him up here.
Tisk, perhaps, I think.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing it to my attention, Torlanos. That makes you this week's Citizen of the Week.
All right.
Quickly to the weather today, and after the sun goes through its daily rotation of up, over, and down, the island's corruption invasion forces will get their exercise in across 30% of the regions. 2 submissions for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it's cardboard. Tonight, the Marauders of Destroyers assault the Covenant hero worshippers of Outcast for control of the island's primary oil supplies of Weaver's Fen. Destroyers' forces trudge into the peat moss bog of the Fen and set up their tent, but it will take more than cardboard to get past the Outcast, because they have been known to summon their great legendary hero to the battlefield, expertly skilled in all weapons and well-versed in all battle techniques. Meanwhile, the Syndicate members of Ascended is Coming attack the Covenant converts of Coconut Wireless for control of the medicinal hot springs of Ebonscale Reach. Well, look who's coming again, this time to the western resort destination of Fortune's Crossing. But to earn VIP access to the hot springs, they'll need to conquer the bamboo forest preserves. After all the preparation and anticipation in Brightwood, Coconut Wireless felt deflated and unfulfilled by the forewarning given before. But was that just a bluff for this true target? Be sure to tune in for complete coverage and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News.
Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report.
No change in the dynamic of Eternum last night, unless you count the last-minute invasion breach and reekwater, resulting in minor downgrades at 2 refining stations. KOTT News were on the scene in Brightwood, where the payouts for the combined war forces, Invasion Defense Forces, the Brightwood Backwoods Bear Battalion, and the Eternum Game and Fish Department's appointed posse of corrupted rabid rabbits patrol all took place. A member of the defense was able to give KOTT a brief word about the engagement. Congratulations on your victory here in Brightwood, retaining the region and keeping Ascended from coming in here. How do you feel it went out there tonight?
We did what we could, man. They couldn't even get out of the gates, and yeah, let's just say that.
Which of the regions do you think would be the most appropriate for Ascended to head to?
I'm thinking any of Kai's kitchen, you know? I think he should hit them up next.
Was there anybody out on the battlefield who you want to highlight tonight?
Definitely a shot caller on ice, man. That guy up there.
Oh, let me get the camera. That guy over there. The one wearing the seasonal event outfit with the hot pink, or the soft pink. Right on.
He shows up every war and he does his job.
Well, that's about all you can ask of everybody, right?
Yep, exactly.
KOTT News were unable to secure an interview with the newly rebranded Kai's Kitchen, but have requested an official statement from City Hall. In lighter news, KOTT investigates have continued to knock out those seasonal accomplishments, achieving another bingo. It may not be the fastest way to grind cards, but it sure is satisfying to accomplish. Leave a comment if you think the next card will bingo too. Turning to the weather, and with a night like last night, let's hope the sun dries up the rotten corruption around the southeastern shore. But look out after sundown as things cool down and the humidity causes a 40% chance of invasion once again. 2 more submissions for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it's cardboard. Tonight, the syndicate members of Commit attack the marauders of Discord PvP Dodgers for control of the northern observation post of Morningdale. Commit forces, frustrated by the lack of long-range corruption invasion observation post last night, have come to rectify that issue by returning the syndicate control to the region. The marauders of PvP Dodgers dig in as they prepare to defend their position, knowing when the corruption invasion waves are coming are the least of their concerns. Meanwhile, the Covenant forces of Kai's Kitchen assault the syndicate members of JDB's Kitchen for Crown and Kingdom of the Western Monarch's Bluff. It's finally happened. After over a year and a half of hinting around, 2 great houses have declared their intentions to battle in a 50-on-50 Ultimate Shokugeki. They'll have 30 minutes to prepare the theme ingredient for the day, but at the end of their exhaustive competition, whose cuisine will reign supreme? Be sure to tune in for complete coverage and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News.
Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report.
Dynamic change in the history of Eternum last night as the culinary converts of Kai's Kitchen shocked the island with a last-minute capture. Meanwhile, on the eastern shore, the Syndicate Commit forces continue to expand the Syndicate Union by resecuring the northern early warning observation posts in Morningdale. Commit forces were basking in the ceremonial hot tub when the stunning news out of Monarch's Bluff were first handed to me. Not since the winter of 2021 has the island been without a marauder presence. This historic event has sent ripples throughout Eternum's sitting council of great houses. Covenant worshippers claim to have acquired a majority of the island and may now dictate developmental strategies in the name of the Spark. But Syndicate scholars point out that the Week 1 Accords still only account for the original 12 regions and their rightful owners. KOTT News will bring you more on this story as it develops. Returning to our top story, KOTT News traveled to Pridemore, where we were able to secure an interview with the legendary hero himself. Oh my goodness, in the final moments, an unexpected dessert comes out and sways the judges to win you the Shokugeki here in Monarch's Bluff. Would you take us through the fight and how you managed to win it in the final seconds?
Yeah, John, it's pretty simple. We basically said we're gonna win this time, and we won.
Oh my gosh, this guy with the simplicity for simplicity's sake. You're not gonna tell me what happened out there?
Yeah, basically we said we're gonna kill him, so we killed him, and once we killed him, we won.
Yep, that's what happens. Well, I tell you what, Mr. Everything Good at Everything All at Once, would you care to tell us if there was anybody out there who stood out in their performance?
The JDB Dex team, they're really good, but, you know, I'm just better. What can I say?
All right, well, shout out to the JDB Kitchen Dex team, but just not enough tonight. Well, now that you're the crowned kings of Monarch's Bluff, what are your intentions for the hamlet here? And
We're probably gonna do a mass giveaway for the territory. We don't need it. We just wanted to prove how easy it was to take the territory.
turning to our ongoing coverage of the Season 1 experience, last night's bingo just wasn't in the cards. But leave a comment below if you think I'll get one on the next card. Speaking of the Season 1 event, more and more citizens are participating in practice duels just outside the north gates of Corinth and Windsward. While covering the festivities, KOTT News spotted one diligent Spuddy dutifully carrying their potato. Looking at the weather for today, and it's another day of sunshine fulfilling the afternoon once more. Then be on the lookout after sundown when the humidity drops and corruption invasion forces spread out across 40% of the island. 2 more lineups submitted for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, If it isn't LARPco, it's cardboard. First up, the Marauders of Destroyers assail the Covenant forces of Error.pxp for control of the island's secondary oil reserves of Cutlass Keys. Destroyers are the first group of Marauders to step up to reassert their presence on the island, and they're going back to the mosh pit to focus on their origin stories. Error forces making their first defense of the Keys for the second time, but this time they have a better grasp of how to hold the lanes between the crocodile-filled marshes. Meanwhile, the Covenant forces of Outcasts assault the Syndicate members of Commit for control of the island's master fishing port town of Reekwater. Flying a new banner, this group of outcasts come to the crabbing and crawfish town to establish their staging grounds for the Lazarus instrumentality. Fresh off their victory splash in the hot tub last night, Commit now have to march back to their distant landholding to the south to prove the invasion loss wasn't a lack of commitment. We'll have any late-breaking outcomes and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News.
Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report.
No change in the dynamic of Eternum last night as both great houses hold off the offensive efforts of the enemy and retain control of their respective regions. KOTT News were on the scene all evening long, starting in Cutlass Keys, where we tried to keep up with a skittish rabbit head.
Oh yeah, to get into Fort Phase tonight?
They did. They made it to Fort, but they had some decent pushes, but it stalled out on them after a certain time. I mean, I think they suffer the same stuff we suffer with the roster. They just need that extra little oomph to get there.
Oh yeah. Okay, so they're still filling it a little bit with Merc forces, but as soon as they get a little extra recruiting underway, they'll be all right.
I think so. I think they'll be okay. I mean, I think the one thing that's holding that entire company down, John, is that they all are ex-TMG,
Oh, is that right? TMG on top?
Yeah, so that kind of weighs down the rest of that roster for them, and, unfortunately, egos don't win wars.
Oh, okay. Well, there's some wisdom for them. Hopefully they take it to heart. Let's talk about this drip. What is this outfit all about? The red and with the what is going on here?
Okay, so here's the deal. This is the bunny that haunts your dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yep. Oh. This is the bunny that eats souls, haunts your dreams, and lays poisonous Easter eggs.
That's not chocolate.
Later in Reekwater, KOTT News were granted a brief word from leadership after their close battle.
Congratulations on your victory, man. Great fight. They got into the fort, but you held them back. They did push it to 50%. Can you take us through that moment and let us know what went down in comms?
Yeah, basically, it got sweaty there for a minute. It was ticking, like you said, but we were able to hold out. We got everyone on point. Everyone did their job. Everyone soldiered up, and we fought it off.
Excellent. Was there anybody who outperformed themselves tonight in that out there in that battle?
No, I want to give a special shout out to Germanus. He came out of retirement for us for that war. We needed him, and he showed up and he performed top notch like he always does. And I think he was our MVP, Germanus. Thank you.
Awesome. That's what I'm talking about. Well, it looks like you and other members of the company have been able to get out there and take care of some of the rabid rabbits that have been out overpopulating the island. Have you been able to get your footlocker?
I think it was on the 400th kill.
Oh, right on the 400th. So it happened. Good luck. Congratulations on that. Are you looking forward to the next event upcoming in about a week?
Absolutely.
That wasn't enough action for the citizens last night, as outcast forces were seen proselytizing to the masses outside Fort Windsward. Closer to the north gates of Corinth, less advanced members of the citizenry continue to practice their dueling skills. Turning to the ongoing Season 1 event, last night's card was a 2-liner for JC. Leave a comment below if you think I'll bingo the next one. Looking at the weather, and it's going to be a casual day of sitting around enjoying the afternoon's festivities. And it's even going to be a pretty calm evening, with only a 20% chance of corruption invasion later in the night. Yet another submission for a simulated fantasy combat resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it is cardboard. Tonight, the Marauders of Iron Reavers assail the Syndicate members of Commit for control of the always uncontrollable Restless Shore. Iron Reavers head out to the Mud Hill to focus on their core stability and balance. They're going to need that if they hope to divide the Commit Empire and become kings of the hill. It was Commit who decided that the Marauders would no longer be tolerated on the island, and it will be Commit standing atop the Mud Hill tonight, awaiting them for the anarchy in the archipelago. Be sure to tune in for complete coverage and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News.
Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report.
No change in the dynamic of Eternum last night as the forces of Commit managed to maintain control of the barely controllable Restless Shore. KOTT News were on the scene in Far Harbor and spoke with one of the participants about the outcome. Congratulations on your victory out here in Restless Shore, holding off the forces of Iron Reavers and making sure no Marauder ever steps foot on the island again. How do you feel it went out there, my friend?
It went great, honestly. We've been trying to get better every day, every war as a company, and I think this war right here proved that, we're doing just that.
Indeed. Was there anybody who outshined themselves in their performance tonight on the battlefield?
Honestly, I'm gonna have to give it to Big Fat J, my healer that war. He did his job, helped me pad a little bit, and yeah, just A1 healer, saved my ass.
After the fighting, KOTT News crews got back to completing expeditions for Seasonal 1 bingo attempts. And it was during this excursion that we made a shocking discovery linking the corruption to the rabbits. Rabbit masks found to be infected with corrupted invasion virus. As more and more citizens have become infected, KOTT News crews put themselves in harm's way to investigate the infected. All right, well, let me ask you, do you like carrots?
I actually do. Baby carrots, though. They're my favorite.
Have you noticed recently any other desires or urges to maybe become more herbivoric?
Honestly, I've been sticking to carrots, keeping my figure slim,
Late-stage infections are beginning to exhibit the loss of communicative ability, only able to speak in simple rabbit talk. KOTT News will bring you more on this shocking outbreak as the story develops. In light news, last night's seasonal card was a complete box. Leave a comment below if you've had a box card too. Looking at the weather for this afternoon, and once again, it's going to be another beautiful day of sunshine for all your rabbit hunting. Then keep an eye out for anti-invasion opportunities at night across 30% of the island. 5 roster submissions for simulated fantasy combat resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it's cardboard. First up, the Marauders of Emotional Damage attack the Covenant of Coconut Wireless for control of the medicinal hot springs and resort destination of Ebonscale. Emotional Damage step up the difficulty level and take another turn at overcoming the hardship of the island and establishing a foothold for the Marauders. But the pina colada loving converts of Coconut Wireless are fresh off their holiest of holidays yesterday, and the illustrious card Unlimited Hot Springs and Medicinal Cart Day has them extremely well rested. Meanwhile, the Marauders of Iron Reavers assault the Covenant forces of Kai's Kitchen for control of the arid desert region of Brimstone Sands. Ever seeking the opportunity to improve their might, the Iron Reavers take their workout session to the dunes to get their sand legs under them, hoping to become the kings of the desert. Kai's Kitchen, in the first of a doubleheader on defense, will have to focus on the foe before them first, or risk thinking ahead and slipping into an unexpected early fort phase. Then, the Covenant hero worshippers of Kai's Kitchen assault the vault of JDB's Kitchen to steal away the island's financial capital of Windsward. Taking the momentum of their victory in the final moments the last time these two fought, Kai's Kitchen staff attempt to double down on their winnings and make a grab for the island's central corridor. JDB's Kitchen may be divided in their attention tonight, though they've shown they can hold too, or they may be completely dedicated to making sure such a thing doesn't happen again. Meanwhile, the Marauders of Redemption Arc Dodgers assail the syndicate members of Gone Green for control of First Light and the flow of the spice. Every hero arc has a redemption arc, and every redemption arc has that moment when they start, making it more redemption-worthy, the undivided attention of their adversary, though perhaps caught unprepared, as the recently rebranded members of Gone Green were in the middle of remodeling the Spice and Hyssop production facilities to be more sustainable. Meanwhile still, the Covenant converts of Coconut Wireless challenge the champs of JDB's Kitchen for their heavyweight title and the right to rule over Everfall. Coconut Wireless will have little time between outings tonight. After defending their resort and fighting for the heavyweight belt, they'll have quite the story to tell at the end of the night. JDB has shown in the past that they will attempt to hold both, but not focus the title. But even if they treat this as a sparring match, they'll do all they can to prevent a flag fall. We'll have any late-breaking outcomes and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News.